Plywood is a good choice of material for most home projects, including built-ins, kitchen cabinets, that sort of thing. The thing is, you have to finish plywood properly, otherwise it can look terrible. I usually paint my plywood, and the first step in doing that is to sand it. And then I fix margins. These are called margins here, lippings in other countries. Fairly easy to get hold of in any timber shop over here. And you just cut it to size and fix it with some adhesive. I use Fevicol usually. And then nail it down with a hand nailer. You need to set the nails below the surface, and the other thing you need to do is to flush the edges of the margins with the case, and the best way to do it is using a router bit, a flushed in router bit, and this loaded on a router does the job perfectly. The next thing to do is to apply a coat of primer. I do it with a roller because it's quick and fast. The key thing about finishing or painting plywood is to use a filler. Now you get a lot of these fillers of various kinds and they're all good. I prefer the acrylic fillers, which are easy to apply and harden after drying. And what these fillers do is that they create an even surface, because plywood, most of the plywood sold in India is pretty grainy, and you won't get a smooth surface if you don't fill it. So after a coat of primer, I fill it and then sand it down. So make sure you have an even but a light coat of filler on the wood, because otherwise you'll have to do a lot of planing later on. Then after it's done, I smooth it down with an orbital sander. You can use sanding paper. So that's one coat of primer and another of filler. You use another coat of primer and then go on to the paint. I prefer a satin paint, and Deluxe makes some really nice paints which go on well and dry quickly. This paint dries in about a couple of hours, and then you can put on another coat. Here I'm rolling it on. It's quick and easy, but as you can see that it leaves texture marks. In between coats of paints, I use 320 grit sandpaper to smooth the surface. This is a must. And then for the final two coats, I use a brush to put on the paint. That's because I wanted to get rid of those texture marks which a roller leaves behind. I like a soft, flat surface which you can sand after the paint dries, and you get a beautiful eggshell kind of sheen. And here it's done, and now I'm going to fix the plywood back with some adhesive and screws. And once I do this, I'm going to fix the doors and and it's done. Here I've fixed the shelf above the computer table. You can do likewise or decide to use your own method. Good luck.